Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today to today's Google Meet Next Level session. Thrilled that all of you are here today. Just want to call out a couple of things real quick. If you look at the screen here, there is a link at the bottom. That is the direct link to the Thrive with 5 site. We ran the first session on Tuesday. I think many of you were there. We're thrilled that you're back. Feel free to go there and see the resources and materials from Tuesday that we used. I would also encourage you during this session to go ahead and feel free to share resources using this hashtag, the Google EDU hashtag in the bottom left, and share anything that you'd like. I'll also make sure that we save some time at the end for Q&A. Full transparency, I can't see your Q&A live, but we have a system set up so that when we get to a few minutes late, we'll be able to do this and hopefully get as many of your questions answered as possible. Just know that this this session will be fully recorded and available likely within a few minutes at the end of this session. So again, we're thrilled you're here, thrilled to get started and talk about all the things on the agenda today. If you're with us on Tuesday, you know that the session structure is pretty similar, right? We're going to try to go for about 20 minutes. If I don't get too long-winded, we're going to do the Thrive in 5 deep dive on the 5 different features that we think are valuable for this secondary or leveling up session. We're also going to get into demoing these resources. We didn't really want this to be slides only for you. We wanted to give you the opportunity to see and experience what we're working with. We're also going to include some classroom testimonials and teacher spotlight components. Briefly, but we want to at least call out some really great educational uses that are happening currently within the education community. We have a little bit of extra credit, additional resources for you, and then we'll have that Q&A. Our Thrive in 5 topics for today are listed here. We're definitely going to get into room controls a bit. We're going to talk about the layouts and some of the new ones that have been added, some advanced joining options, recording, and live streaming the Meet rooms. Just a reminder that the recording and the live streaming are part of the premium features that are available currently through September 30th. The traditional package has up to 100 users in a Meet room. Currently, that is maxed out at 250, which you will see in some of our demonstrations here today. Before we jump into the demo, a couple fun overviews for everybody. I put in here that Meet is currently using artificial intelligence to filter background noise and optimize lighting. I was just sharing a story how I was on a call this week, and Meet took children from the background who were loud, and it was my first experience seeing it drop the audio of the background noise. Really cool. I could hear the person I was communicating with wonderfully. It went really well. We mentioned live streams, we didn't mention this. Live streams come up to 100,000 viewers. We'll get into that a little bit. Meet is part of G Suite for Education, and bonus round for everyone today. Meet has now been released for your personal Gmail. So if you want to use Gmail to connect with your family, have virtual parties, virtual birthday celebrations, or anything like that, you can use your personal Gmail now. It should be showing up today, and if not, in the next couple of days, it will be fully rolled out for all users. So without further ado, we're going to jump into this demonstration and give you some really cool tools inside of Meet. I'm going to start with the demo here over at meet.google.com, the main web interface for Google Meet. And the reason why I wanted to start here today is because I wanted to talk a little bit about the join features and the room controls a little here. If I come here and I go to start a meeting, pops up for me, prompts me to ask me if I want to leave it blank or add a nickname. I know almost everybody in this room is an educator, so pertinent to educators, when you nickname a room and you have students come and join it, if you make sure you're the last person in the room and then close the room, that prevents students from being able to come back into the room when the teacher isn't there and join and have conversations without supervision. So always a nice practice to go ahead and nickname these right from the start. We'll call this Cool Kids for all of you that came here today, all of you cool kids. I'll choose Continue. Okay, so I'm starting my Google Meet now. Right from the get-go, I have some options available. Best practice, courteous to the room. You always want to go to mute. I obviously want to mute because I don't want a double audio coming in here and ruining your ears or blowing up your eardrums with feedback. So mute my phone. Off to the right, I can join now or start right to present. I have right here to join and use a phone for audio. This is a unique feature. I don't know that it will be used terribly often, but when you need it, it's wonderful. For example, if your device does not have working microphone or speakers, you can dial in with your phone. If you're in a loud coffee house and you want to be a part of a meeting but use your phone for audio, I don't think too many of us are in loud coffee houses right now, but if you are in the future, this is a nice option for you to join in a unique way. I'm just going to go ahead and launch this room. Opens up. Once again, I have a new option, different than using the phone for audio. This is a dial-in number that I can simply copy from my screen right here, and I can send by email or text message, whatever you need to do to let people dial in or join the link into the full Meet video conferencing room. If I'm on the road, I'm driving, and I want to dial in and be a part of the meeting, this makes it available to me. I'll close this for now. Special note on some controls. If I come to the bottom left of my Meet room and I open this up, you'll see my name, or my room is nicknamed. I have the joining information again, attachments. If this Meet was part of a calendar event and I attached some files, an agenda or schedule or something, they would be available right here in the room as well. So good to know. If I come across my bottom control bar and I come over to present now, let's touch on this real quick because I want to call something out here for everyone. When you take a look into present now, up until recently, we only had the ability to capture my entire screen or a window on a single window or my entire screen. Single window would be like this browser that I'm currently active in. Entire window would be this browser window, other windows, or other applications that I want to share. But started using this a lot myself recently, the Chrome tab. If I can broadcast just a single tab, perfect for if you want to show a video tutorial, a YouTube speech, anything like that, because that allows for the audio and the video to come through the Meet software and be delivered with fidelity to anyone watching on the other end. So that is the key for broadcasting a video to your class or any audience that you want to present to. So I wanted to call that out. If I use my 3-dot more options in the bottom right-hand corner, this is where we start to change that layout a little bit and use some more controls. And you'll see like additional ways to activate features. You'll see here where I can add a phone for audio. I can change my video settings if I needed to. I can go full screen. I can turn on captions to have the speaker's words presented to me in text along my screen. If I come to change layout, Google by default, Google Meet is managing this. And when I come in here, I see that auto is selected. Well, auto is going to let Google Meet pick the most optimized view at any given time during this session. But if you feel strongly about something else, if you want the sidebar where there's a single presentation screen, and then you want it, or you want a spotlight where you're pinning just a single person to look at. If you want the tile view, we now can have up to 16 participants in that tile, right? So some options for you to make it look and feel, for you to join a room or participate the way that you want to participate. You'll also notice in the 3-dot menu, this is where I first look at recording this Google Meet, right? So if I come to record meeting right here, when I make that selection, definitely want to pause here for a second. There's a message that says ask for consent. Okay, now I'm going to record this. There's nobody on this Meet with me, and there's no other people in this room. But I would highly advise that you follow this guidance when you're going to record meetings to make sure you get consent from everyone that's a part of the meeting room. When I choose to accept and record this meeting, in the upper left-hand corner, my record button will take a few seconds cycle before it turns red and lets me know that this is currently being recorded. I'm the owner, creator of this event, but others in the room would notice the record button as well so that they have an indicator to let them know the recording is active. If I come to stop the recording, right? It's only a couple seconds, but where does it go? Like what happens? If I grab my 3-dot menu one more time and I choose to stop this recording, It'll pop up and it'll let me know that this recording is going to be saved to my Google Drive. If I say stop recording, takes a second, might take a few minutes depending on the length of your video that needs to be rendered and moved to Google Drive. But once I stop that recording, I can jump over to Google Drive, as you can see here, and Meet automatically makes a folder for me called Meet Recordings right here. If I open these up, you'll notice I have some samples and some other recordings that I've made in here, and all of them will be in here, okay? If I come back to my drive, the Meet that I was just recording will eventually, over the next few minutes, be available there for me. Also worthy note, if we use the calendar event for the Meet and you record the meeting during the scheduled time, any guests who are on that Meet, on that calendar invite, will get the link to the recording in the Google Calendar as well. If I jump over to Google Classroom, let's talk about join options a little bit more. And I want to call this out one more time because there's been some need for educators to make their IT departments aware of some things if they're not seeing this work properly. So in Classroom now, we can include Google Meet for each of our individual classes. If you teach 5 sections of math, each math classroom will have its own Meet room, okay? So you want to activate this for each of your 5 classes. When I'm looking here, I see my class title, I see my Meet link right on my Stream tab. I also can jump to classwork and I have Meet at the top of my classwork page. Now, both of these options are available because I've made them available as the teacher. If I go to my settings in the upper right-hand corner and I look in my class settings, you will see that if I scroll down a bit, there's a new feature in here for Google Meet. The room is available, and you have the option if you want students to see the link or not. Now, here's the thing. There's no fear in turning this on as long as your configuration on your domain is properly set up. When I turn this on, if I already had it on, so if I turn it off and then I turn it back on and hit save, important, have to save your work, at least in this one part, not on a Google Doc, we all know. When I come back to this room here, now my Meet rooms are active. Here's another key. These Meet rooms are treated as nicknamed rooms. So when we nicknamed a room at the beginning to avoid that situation of students coming back into the room, these are exactly the same way. Only teachers can start these rooms, then students can join. And once all the students leave the room, you can close the Meet room and students cannot come in off hours or with unsupervised space to talk here. If we, by the way, I should mention, in the Meet rooms, if you open up your People tab here, all of your people will be listed here, including your students. So if you see a student, and this isn't necessarily malicious, but if you are ending class and there's 3 or 4 students still in here, maybe they walked away, maybe they went to eat lunch, you can click on each of their names and there's a little icon to remove them from the room. So if you're having trouble getting everybody to exit out on time because maybe they walked away from their Chromebook or their device, you can manually remove them, close the room, no fears, they can't rejoin the room. So I definitely want to point that piece out in Classroom, especially for this audience. I think I heard we have 1,700 people with us today, which is just outstanding. We're thrilled that you're all here. Another option for joining in Google Calendar. I like using Google Calendar a lot for Meets personally. It's probably my go-to. When I come into Google Calendar and I create an event, let's say here today at 4 p.m., okay? This is my quick add window. This is great, but there are some features that I want to call out on the full events page. So if I click more options and I open up this full events page, maybe I title this School Kids again, and I want to add Google Meet video conferencing to this event. I drop it down. I choose Google Meet. It takes a moment, and now my Meet has been added. Any guests who I invite to this room can simply open the calendar event and join Meet this way. However, this is where it gets fun with these premium features. If I expand these conference details with this drop-down menu, I get my ID. I get the phone number to share with folks if I want to help people dial in. And we have live streams. Okay, so if I say add a live stream right here, take a moment, it will cycle. It gives me the live stream link with a quick copy to the clipboard so that I can paste it somewhere else on a website or an email. Important to note, when I start a live stream right here, this will be available for anyone in the organization to view. They have to be signed in with your school or organization's issued account. Now, if I add guests, okay, now this is just for viewing. If I'm having a panel conversation with 3 or 4 people and I want to add them here, those 3 or 4 people are going to be active community members for this Meet room, okay? The live stream will show the conversation between those 3 or 4 people, and up to 100,000 people can view, okay? Again, only inside of the domain. However, if you wanted a live stream available for parents or community members or people who do not reside or do not have accounts within the domain, here's how we fix that. What I can do is I can save this event. Once I hit save, my Meet is on, my time is set, I'm done. I look right here, cool kids, we're meeting at 4. If I open this event again, I come back to edit on my events page. Now with this listed, more actions at the top will provide me an additional option. If I drop this down, you will see create a view only event. Watch closely at the title of this event when I click here on create view only. Changes and gives me a live stream. Cool kids. This stream link right here would be available to you to give to parents or people outside of the domain to watch only, right? So if I copy this and I grab a new tab to the right and I paste that here, you'll see waiting for streaming to begin, please stand by. Got it. So once I start the stream and have provided this link to others, that window will activate and they can tune in and watch what's going on. I'll save this. You'll notice on my Google Calendar, I have 2 events here living in the 4 o'clock hour. One is the live stream. One is my actual event for the Meet room. So if I open this event and I join the Meet, it's going to look just slightly different. Again, I'm going to come in and mute here. Let me close this other window. And once I mute and choose join now, I'm in the room and I get this. The organizer scheduled this meeting to be streamed. Start streaming. Once I start that stream, it's going to make sure I check with everybody in the room one more time before I start streaming the meeting to make sure everyone's okay and ready to go. If I start the stream, it'll take a few minutes. I will see the live in the live indicator in the upper left-hand corner. This is broadcasting right now. There's a little bit of a delay typically on a live stream. If I jump over to my live stream within a couple seconds, there we go. This is starting, and it's probably weird for you to look at because there's 2 different versions of me. So I'll close that, come back to this first link right here. And in my broadcast, live events are not automatically recorded. You can choose to record them by, again, going to 3 dots and recording the meeting. So you can do both. There's a lot of ways that you can use this here, right? So I can record it. I can live stream. For now, I'm just going to cancel this live stream by by clicking on stop stream or stop streaming. My stream will end, comes offline, and in a second, here I am again talking in delay. It will close off and it will end the stream to anybody in my audience. Okay. So live streams, calendar events, recording. We have our layouts and our join options by phone and using a phone for audio. I want to briefly just call out a few more things and let you know I'm going to give you the link to the Thrive with 5 series webpage at the end again. So don't fret because I have this Google Doc included on that website. There were a few questions on Tuesday. I'm sure many of you have similar questions about ways to use Meet in a couple of different ways. And so I'm going to call out these first couple right here, show you a couple Chrome extensions that are becoming very popular quickly, right? So here is Nod. Nod is a Chrome extension that if it meets the requirements by your district for proper use, and it's always good to advise your technical folks probably to pay attention to the privacy policies and look over everything. And if your district approves, I would say turn this on for all users. because what this will do is when you and your students launch a Meet room, kind of hard to see in this little snapshot, but there are emojis with hands being raised or a thumbs up to let them know that you understand. A really cool way to get indications and sort of engage, hopefully, students in a new way with new interactions, emoji interactions. So nod, Google Meet grid view. As we mentioned, Google Meet has up to 16 people in an automatic grid view now. But some people have said to me, well, Rich, I have 35 kids. I want to see them all. There's an extension that will allow you to do that, okay? And lastly, there is a Meet attendance extension as well. So if you're in a room and you want to take attendance from everybody who's in that room, you can quickly launch this extension. It generates a Google spreadsheet for you, and you see everyone who's in the room, right? So no worries if you didn't catch all those. We have them up on the site where we will direct your attention to here shortly. I just want to take a couple minutes. I know, of course, I got long-winded sharing so many fun things, but I wanted to take just a minute to call out some really great uses of Meet right now. This is a quote from Shannon Nish. She's an educator and a trainer for our organization. And we've been doing these Google Trainer certification events. And Shannon has been in there working the back channel, sharing links and doing all these great things while I'm typically broadcasting to help people get the skills and readiness to apply to become a Google trainer. Well, Shannon makes friends quickly, and she does in this situation as well. I will share with you quickly. Here's Tiffany Losasso. She's on Twitter, Redhead EdTech. She is in this trainer session, and it's just a great post from her. She's in our Meet room. You can see my ugly mug there on the screen. She has a 2-year-old and a 1-month-old in her hand, learning to be a Google trainer, and then sharing links and answering questions with everybody in the room. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. This other small image that you see here is the grid view extension. We had about 140 some people in this session, and you can see a little snapshot of everybody and a little piece of the presentation in the upper left-hand corner. So wanted to call those out for great uses and celebrate Tiffany's willingness to get into Meet and use it this way. Just fascinating and wonderful to see. We have an extra credit page. I'm just going to leave this here because the slides are available on the page as well. I want to get to your Q&A and see if we can answer as many of those as possible. And like I said, we have this back channel going. I have Devin from Google on my phone, so I can answer some of these for you. I'll leave this here on the screen so you have time to copy down the short link and get over to the Thrive with 5 series page. And please go head over there. Again, you can revisit Tuesdays. We'll be doing these for the next 5 weeks after this week. So a 6-week series, Tuesdays and Thursdays on different tools. So feel free to join us. Let's see. We got some questions. Students staying in the nickname Meet after the teacher ends. Is this something we are aware of? Some of them will copy and paste the Meet the URL. Okay. If students are getting back into that room, okay, so if you're waiting till the end of the meeting, you're making sure all students are gone by removing them or manually waiting for them to exit the room. And if it's nicknamed and you close it then, they will not be able to rejoin. If you see that happening, contact your IT department because it's likely that there may be an organizational unit need or some type of organization needed to keep students out of that room. They may have somewhat advanced privileges. Okay. Let's see here. Question from Eric. When asking for consent to record, did you say that all the meetings are asked for consent? If so, what does to stop a kiddo from saying no? Eric, so all the meets that are going to be recorded do ask for consent and advise that you get consent in that room. Something to be aware of, certainly. This might be something for you to look at a board policy or a media release form if you're recording those. I would turn to some district administrator, school administrator here to see what the board policy is or school policy is around media capturing. Of course, those meetings can be restricted to within the domain and not shared outside, obviously, like everything in Google, but definitely check and make sure you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed on that one. Question, who can record a live stream? So a couple things. Anyone who can start a Google Meet is able to record them. Now, there are some situations where you can only join a Google Meet, but if you're able to start one, you can record it. Now, like we mentioned, the recording and live streaming and 250 people. These are features that are coming from the premium version through the end of September. So anyone can record for that part. So the meeting creator receives the recording. So if I started the meeting, I'm going to receive it by email. It's going to go to Google Drive and so on. So hopefully your students are configured where they can create and record those meetings. Again, if they are, talk to your IT folks. They probably need to do some optimization with your accounts. Geez, great questions. Question from Lisa. Does the nod extension need to be installed by all participants to work? Lisa, yes. So if someone's in the room and they want to use those emojis, the hands up, the thumbs up, they're really cool. My wife is a classroom teacher using Meet extensively in her classroom right now, and her kids have been using it. I've been watching her sometimes on calls, and they love it. So it does need to be installed. Your easy win there, if it's approved by your district and it meets all the requirements of an extension by your district, I would ask them to turn that extension on for all users in the domain. You don't have to worry about it because the next time students sign on to Chromebook or Chrome on a Mac or PC, they'll have access to that extension. Question from Kelly. How do you make it so students need permission to enter? Okay, so Kelly, I would direct you to back to Google Classroom in this case. I also want to mention that Google is working on an additional waiting room scenario so that kids would have to wait to get in. However, I did go ahead and test this out today. Again, my wife's a classroom teacher in the district where my kids actually go to school. And what I realized is we set up for my son to join her class, and she had a classroom set up with Google Meet in it. My son in this district is appropriately configured in the organizational units. When he went to try to join that meeting room, the message that he got was, "We're sorry, your code is invalid or not available." When my wife, Melanie, launched the room, she wasn't in the room. When she turned it on herself through Google Classroom, my son was able to refresh the screen and join that room. Once she removed him from the room and closed the room, he tried to enter again. It was prevented from entering. So a lot of this has to do with the structure and the organizational units on the admin console. So if you're seeing anything else, I would go ahead and talk to your IT for some additional support or organization for users. One thing about the waiting rooms from Google, I don't have a timeline on that just yet. Hopefully we'll hear more in the coming weeks, but no timeline just yet. I'm sorry, I don't have more information on that, but in the pipeline. How can you mute students automatically upon joining the meeting room? Yeah, another huge feature request. But here's the good thing. I kind of feel like everything is a not yet at Google. There was no tile view. Boom, there it is. There was no way to stop students from re-entering a room a month ago. Boom, fixed. This feature where they're automatically, I'm sorry, let me just read I don't want to mess up your question here. How can you mute students automatically upon joining? This feature is something that is also, like I said, a huge feature request being worked on. Google's listening, right? Keep sending feedback, keep sharing your ideas. We'll keep listening and trying to get them going. The team over there is absolutely outstanding. Oh, breakout rooms, another one. Breakout rooms, auto mute. These are all things that are absolutely being worked on. And like I said, I'm sorry, I wish I had better answers for everyone. Meet is transitioning to this really powerful student tool now because of the result of the pandemic, unfortunately. But fortunately, the leaders at Google for Education, the designers, the engineers, all the folks leading the teams over there are listening loud and trying to move all of these features forward. So stay tuned and pay attention to the keyword blog. I feel like it's my best resource to see the newest things that are released and available. I just want to quickly remind everyone that you can register for these sessions next week and the next 5 weeks on this website right here. Again, this is a recording that will be available, will be available probably within the next couple minutes. I would say 15, 20 minutes at the latest. Give a check back at this site if you want to share this with somebody or give this resource to anybody. And also, of course, to capture some of the extra credit resources, those Chrome extensions and other resources that we that we put in here. I think that does it for today's event. Just want to say thank you to everybody one more time. We are absolutely honored that 1,700 people decided to come to this event today. We're thrilled. I believe you will receive, I think you'll receive an email as well with these recordings because you registered for the event. I believe you'll get that as well. So thanks again, and thanks for coming. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend a day early, and we will see some of you next week, hopefully.